Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me and this is the first time you're seeing my face, hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's going to be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in, the continued support. I really do appreciate it, guys. So today for you, I have a weekly wrap up. This is back in the beginning of September because I'm trying to play catch up again because I'm really good at that. Yeah. Anyway, this is week 36 and all my reading shenanigans in between. And this is the dates from September 1st through September 7th. So if you'd like to find out what I was reading at the beginning of this month, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's find the fuck out. Okay. So I completed one book that week and seriously dented another book, and I DNF'd a book that week. So I did some shit. So let's get started talking about it. So the week prior to it, I had started A Forbidden Rumspringa by Kira Andrews. It looks like this. This is the first installment to the gay Amish romance series. I watched an Amish movie on Lifetime, and I got like this Amish romance kick, and I found this book, and it did not disappoint, guys. Did not disappoint. All right, so it is a forbidden romance, We have graphic sexual situations. There is some drug use off page. We have death of a sibling off page. We have descriptions of the Amish lifestyle and a cliffhanger ending, as this is a start of a trilogy. So quick little summary. We follow Isaac, an Amish young man who gains an apprenticeship with David Lance. His David. I'm already smiles, guys, because the sweetness of this book is just, I'm getting a cavity just thinking about it. David is a carpenter, and he is the man of the house after his father has passed away and his elder brother died on his Rumspringa a few years prior using some drug use. So David's family actually moved to this other community where Isaac is at, which has a much stricter rules. They do not practice the concept of Rumspringa as the previous communities did, so they're under a lot more stringent policies. But Isaac gains an apprenticeship with David to learn carpentry. However, David has a secret, and we find out that Isaac shares this same secret. And working together, they have never felt more exquisite until disaster strikes and decisions need to be made based off their own happiness and what they can do for their families. This book ripped at the heartstrings, guys. Oh my God. The amount of longing in this book was so, there was good tension. There was good angst. It was the kind of angst you like, not the irritatingly annoying kind. It's just really fucking well done, because it's not really angst among the two parties. It's angst because of everything on the outside. It's definitely a character-driven story, and I really had a great time with this one. So what worked? The explanation of the Amish culture. I by no means know a lot about Amish culture. I know very, very little. The closest Amish community to where I am at, true Amish, is I think about 40 minutes to maybe an hour away. And all I really know about them is that they make really good bread. That's the only contact I've ever had with them. I have more contact with the Mennonites in our area because there's much more Mennonites in our area than there are Amish, and I really don't know what the difference is, and this is not a video about trying to compare and contrast. I'm just saying that this book is about Amish community, so I didn't really know much about anything because Mennonites and Amish are not the same. But the few aspects that we got, some of the lifestyle practices and the choices, the little bit of research I was able to glean from this book, because I did want to see if she was accurate. I did find that the author did her research. The explanations about the culture and how every community is different. Not every single Amish community practices the same beliefs. Hence why we have that big juxtaposition in the story where they moved from one community that does Rumspringa and the other one does not. Much more severe, stringent policies of communal life and everything like that. I really enjoyed them discussing what the orgnum was, and I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, so I do apologize. The orgnum and how it's determined by the elders of that community, not just a grand scope of Amish, but just that community in general. It's very intriguing that someone would choose to be in this knowing all the modern day conveniences, and it's also very humbling that somebody is that strong that they could go back to this almost Puritan style lifestyle. And it was just the way it was explained and the way it was utilized. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't just a history lesson. It wasn't a cultural lesson, but the way it was infused within the story, the events that she used within the story to bring up these, and she gave explanations of these lifestyle choices and reasonings behind and kind of hypocrisies with them, stuff that actually did make sense, but just kind of the ifs and ands throughout the story, I thought was really, really well done. I don't have a lot of Amish literature under my belt, so I can't say that this is a good representation of an Amish lifestyle by any shape or form, but from what I was able to research, the little I did research with this book, it did seem pretty accurate from that. So if you're looking for what seems to be an accurate representation of some Amish lifestyle practices, this would be a good rec for that, if that's something you're looking for. I loved the comparison in this book. There is a huge juxtaposition of the plain life is how they refer to it in the book, and the modernity, like our world. Very modern, very, modern, is the only word I can think of right now, versus a very Puritan style lifestyle where it's very just pure and simple, and there's no social media, there's no photographs, it's just community and growing within that community and having belief that the Lord will take care of everything. Pure and unadulterated, belief in that. I really liked how it was displayed in the story with the couple and with the couple within its society, because this is an MM romance. So this is not a romance that would be allowed in the Amish society, in the Amish lifestyle. So having that main point of this makes us happy, we don't feel wrong, but yet everything says that we are, and also showing that in comparison of a modern life, looking in on someone who's choosing to not use all modern day conveniences like running fucking water in an indoor toilet, just having that parallel with it, I thought was really, really well done. It's not over and abundant, but the few times that she does it in the story, I thought were really well done, and I really appreciated it. I enjoyed the symbolism in it a lot. I think it helped progress the story along, and it didn't bog it down. It didn't make it political. It made it real. It made it feel like some of these decisions that our characters were making were based more in truth of what someone actually going through this would have to figure out and decide. So I really enjoyed that. I loved the innocence in this book. Now, this definitely played to the Amish lifestyle, not having a lot of the modern day inconveniences, and this is really displayed through the character of Isaac. Isaac is young. I think he's about 17. I'm pretty sure he's about 17 or 18. And he is not really familiar with any of the English, that's what they call us in the story, English world, like some of our nuances. And just seeing the pure enjoyment of him experiencing a pair of jeans and putting them on for the first time, and the rebellion that he experienced, knowing what I did when I was 17 and what some of my friends did when they were 17, their rebellions, these kids' rebellions were nothing compared to ours. They were so innocent. They were everyday, just simple things that we take for granted. And just seeing the awe and the amazement of some of the things that we take for granted through the eyes of Isaac was fantastic. It made those sweet moments between him and David even better, because David embraced that nuance, because he did know a little bit about the English world. Not a lot, but he did know a little bit more than Isaac. And just seeing how Isaac was guided through it with him and how they worked through it together, just this amazement and this awe, and him showing him new things and sharing new things with him. Oh my God, I fucking ate it up, guys. It was so sickeningly sweet. I got so many cavities. Oh my God, it was adorable. Just the awe of something new, and having that kind of same awe parallel to when intimate moments happened, those first moments, those moments that are emblazoned in your mind. If you've been following me at all, you know I'm a big proponent of first scenes in romance books. I really pay attention to those, because a first time experience, a first sexual encounter is, for most people, I understand there are situations where it's not your choice, but is one of the few firsts that you get to remember as a person. You clearly can remember, you can build up in your mind, you can either have it meet, you can have it let it down, you know, it's one of those. And so I put a lot of stake in those in romance books, and there were so many first sexual encounters in this story that I just loved it. But then on top of that, we have all these firsts of experiencing new things, like a drive-in movie. I have seen a couple drive-in movies in my life, and I can relate to that experience of just being in awe, but it's 10 times because it's completely different for them, because it's completely, like, they don't even have regular movies, let alone a drive-in movie, let alone a car. They're in horse and buggies. It was amazing. I loved that. I love that it was drenched in this book. It was so over and abundant, all these firsts. It just was peppered with it, and I loved it. I loved every time something new happened. It gave me that butterfly kind of feeling of sweet and innocent romance, and I'm just like, oh, I needed this so bad. I needed to know that there was still purity in the world, and there was still happiness, and people could still find joy in the simplest of things. I loved it. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the book, was just all of those firsts, and the way she wrote Isaac, the wonderment in his eyes, the way she described his eyes, his action, and then she simultaneously described David looking at Isaac and just the awe of him experiencing this first through him. Oh my God. Shut the fuck up. Put a fork in me. I'm done. I can't with the sweetness. I couldn't. And then you fucking make this shit even hotter by having, like, the first sex scenes being hot and, you know, accurate. And I'm like, fucking A, yes, go fucking team. This was a slam dunk finish for me. I just, loved it. Speaking of the sex scenes and the romance, I loved the pining in this story. It was almost the level of Jane Austen, but yet we got to progress past the pining. But that pining stage, the wanting, the thinking about, the nervousness of, is he looking at me? Is he gonna think I'm weird? I just, oh my God. I fucking ate it up, guys. I ate it the fuck up. I could not. I'm just, I was so happy. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it. I also really appreciated this because this can be relatable to anybody going through a major change in their life. This could be relatable to any teenager. Just anybody in general can relate to this. This struggle of acceptance of who you are and embracing that against what you have always known. There comes a time in everybody's life where you have to start making decisions on how you feel. Okay, it's plain and simple. You have to decide how you feel about a situation. Yes, you can argue the same valid points that your parents have argued to you for years, but then it's just regurgitation. Unless you've actually sat down and really thought about how you personally feel about a topic and made the conscious decision to make, this is how I feel about it, this is how I don't feel about it, this is how I disagree, this is how I agree. Everybody goes through this at multiple stages in their lives. I love the fact that it was brought to the forefront. And I'm not just saying about political values or staying with the Amish community. I'm talking about embracing who you really are as a person, knowing that nobody in the world, in your community, your known community, is going to accept it. They're just not. And still embracing it anyway, trying to hold on to your true self, even in a field full of doubt. I love that. It's something I try to strive to my daughter all the time, that you have to be you. Only you can accept you, okay? Everybody else can think what they want. Perception is reality. That is how it is. But only you can control how you react to their perceptions of you. And if they're wrong, you can either do one of two things. You can try to change their minds in a adult fashion, or you can go find people that actually appreciate you for who you are and fuck them and have a nice goddamn day. All right? Plain and simple. You can either fight or you can move on. But either way, you're the one that has to sleep with you at night, and you're the one that has to live here. Only you live here. And if you can't live there, then no one else is going to accept you at all. So you have to accept yourself first and then figure out how you're going to handle with everybody else. And I just loved how this book showed that so well, not only through accepting of the fact that they are both gay, but also accepting the fact that they are in a world where it is not allowed. It is not. their cultural values are not allowed, and they would be shunned. They would not be allowed to be there if they were open with themselves. So what do? And you have Isaac, who is really accepting more, and then David, who, because of his situation, has a lot more on his plate that he has to fight and argue and debate about, because not only does he want to be happy with who he is, but he also wants to take care of his family, because that's part of who he is. So juggling that and trying to figure out a happy balance, I loved it. I just loved the struggle, the embracing of fear, and how she tied in with the pining of a relationship of someone who truly accepts you for who you are and all your faults, all your misgivings, all your positive nature, but at the same time knowing that you have to let them make the decision, and you still have to make a decision for yourself, and you're going to. I thought it was great. Love the karmic circumstances in this book. There was some people that karmically are jackasses. And fuck you. All right, fuck you. And karma's bitch. And I'm glad that it was shown. All right, I like that. And then the sex scenes. These things are fucking on point, guys. They're so hot. Oh my God. There is some cheese in it, though. Don't get me wrong. There's some fucking cheese. But this cheese made me laugh and like made me drop my jaw. There was one scene where they're performing oral sex, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It's in a barn. Okay, I'm from the Midwest. Like, okay, that's fine. You know, talking about the smell of hay and dirt and just being one with like nature and having like the horses make sounds in the back and you feel the rough wood against your back. I like the description of this. And then you have Isaac say, "Are you going to mount me like a stallion?" What the fuck? For all of the good of this book, there was some cheese factor, and it made it great, because when I saw it, like, that is the dumbest fucking line. Who fucking says that? I'm like, wait a minute. Let me think of my characters. These characters would fucking say this. They would say this. They would think this is hot. Awesome. That's fucking cool as shit. I love it. I love how you just took a total cheese factor in any other romance book, any other scenario, and it would have been awful and cringe and just like, oh God, what? And it totally fucking worked. I loved it. I had such a good time with these. As much as I really enjoyed this book, there were some stuff that did not work in it. So, as always, gotta talk about it, guys. All right. There is a moment where their secret is found out. Of course, you know, we have to have some kind of third act element. And Isaac's best friend is where that comes into play. And I would really have enjoyed more play out of that. We don't get a lot of it. But then again, this is the first installment to a series. So it could come back later on. We don't know. But I would have much rather liked to see a little bit more, because we got to see him so much in the beginning, being friends and kind of like the normal Amish stereotype typical things. But then when it actually started getting nitty and gritty and dirty, I didn't see the anger. I didn't see the fireness, the wanting to keep the relationship. So it kind of made me feel for the friend. I was just kind of like, well, you kind of suck. Like, you're a shitty ass friend. But then again, he has his own things going through, and it is the first installment to a trilogy. So who knows, we might come back to that. Not quite for sure. But I would have liked to see that just extenuated a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more drama infused with it, just a tad bit more. I only got a brief glimpse into it, and then like shenanigans started. So I would have liked to see that straw that brought the camel back just elongated. I would like to see that maybe just a little bit longer. The other thing, the ease of locating the brother. So we do have a cliffhanger ending, and we find out that Isaac has an older brother, Aaron, who has left the Amish community during his Rumspringa. He left, just left a note, and is not talked about. And when the decision is made to possibly maybe, if he decided to leave, he would need somewhere to go. Locating Aaron, and how simple it was. I felt like it was a drop in the pail, and I would enjoy to see a little bit more struggle with that. But then again, I don't necessarily think it would have done the book any good. It would have just made a really crappy situation even crappier. I mean, it definitely would have given more drama, that's for sure. But I I just wish it would have been a little bit more difficult, because it seemed like someone who had there was so much emphasis put on the nuances of new English things that Isaac had no idea about. He was completely in the dark about, and just the awe and, wow, you found him so captivating and so just intriguing because of how new everything was. You just wanted to be like, here, look at this. You want to keep showing him all these new things because you loved the look and description of his face when in this like starry-eyed, like watching a kid take a first step, like this growing moment. You enjoyed this. And when we were trying to locate Aaron, it was super fucking easy for a kid who literally knew nothing about the outside world. I was like, wow, okay. All right, that was very, very quick. Very, very quick. So I would have enjoyed that to be extended just a smidge bit longer. Just a smidgens. But that's just me. Now for a spice rating, I gave this thing 3 chili peppers. I thought it was great. The novelty of saying dirty words for the first time. Now, I love some dirty talk, don't get me wrong. I fucking love it. But the novelty of saying, fuck me, David. Oh my God! The nervousness you heard in the audiobook, because I did listen to this on audiobook, in the performer John Solo's voice, it was on point. Like, you could hear him be like, I want to say it, but I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I was like, oh my God, the sweetness of this book is just beyond. I can't with this right now. It was great. I loved the beginning of the dirty words and the trying to formulate phrases and then, mount me like a stallion. Like, that was fun. I love it. I loved it. It was great. We got to see a lot of firsts on a lot of different sexual activities, intercourse, oral sex, anal sex, shower sex. We saw we saw some in the woods. We got to see different locations. We see it all. Like, this is dope as fuck. There's a lot of sex in this book for Amish. There's a lot. There's a lot, guys, okay? It is a hot book, and some of these scenes are dope as fuck. Like, they're... they're pretty nice, for sure. I also loved the patience that both of our characters had with each other. This is a first for both of our characters, okay? Neither one of them had sex, especially with a man. And so just trying to figure out how things fit and trying to transpose what they've kind of heard behind closed doors about sex with women, and trying to make this kind of like work and trying new things. Like, I heard about this once, I want to try it. And, just the acceptance of trying all these new things and welcoming and just being like, holy crap, even if it sucks, it's still better than they've ever had before because they've never had it. It's at one of those levels, like, they don't have to be pros, but in their mind, they are pros because they're doing the best that they can because they care about the person that they're with, and the other person is accepting and welcoming and wants them to, practice and say weird things like mount me like a stallion. I'm sorry, guys, I can't get over it. I can't. It's so, oh my God. It was the greatest moment of that scene. I was just giggling. Oh my God, because I have the mind of a 12-year-old boy. What can I say? I do, but it was awesome. And I loved that a lot of these sex scenes had excitement written in them. This pining, this kind of culmination of all this pining and thought and dark desire. And then finally they get to experience it. And then just like this this realization, there's like, this is what it feels like to be happy, to be at peace with myself, to not feel wrong. The completeness that these sex scenes gave our characters and our intimate scenes that gave our characters was just, so fucking sweet. Oh my God, so sweet. I loved it. I gave this book 4 stars. Definitely plan on completing the series and continue with it. Gonna keep it listening on audiobook because I really enjoyed John Solo's performance. Really enjoyed it. It's a single narrator, but he does do a very good job of differentiating the voices between all of our male characters because majority of this book are all male characters. There's not a lot of female characters in it. But yeah, had a great fucking time with this one. Definitely excited about it. The next book I started and made a dent in was Kristen Hanna's A Nightingale. This is on my 12 and 24 list. It's one of the books I wanted to read in 2024. It's one of the oldest books on my shelf. It's World War II historical fiction. There is anti-Semitic thought and actions in this book, and there is sexual assault on page at the point I'm at when I was during this week. But I did make a serious dent in it, and I definitely want to talk more about it in my next weekly wrap-up. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that one, where I will talk to you more about how I enjoyed this book and what I thought on a book that's literally sitting on my shelf for fucking years. Yes. Now, the other book I attempted to read during week 36 was this guy, Submitting to a Rancher by B.J. Wayne. I DNF'd this book. DNF'd it. Yeah. This is the first installment to the Cowboy Dom series. I put this on my wish list because I was in a cowboy kind of mood, but I still like some BDSM, so I found this. I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. It's also a really short audiobook, and it's a free audiobook. So for me to DNF it, it had to be awful. Because y'all know I don't DNF books for shit, all right? I just don't. But it is being narrated by Natalie Bradshaw. From what I saw, not a fan of the audiobook of her performance. Didn't really give a shit. It didn't captivate me enough to want to continue listening to this book. But it is a BDSM romance. It also features workplace romance. And from the point I got to it, there is a sex club involved and there is an Insta connection. I wouldn't say Insta love, I say Insta connection because I didn't get past the point of just the connection. So it could be love later, but right now it's just, you're hot, I want to hook up, I want to fuck you. Thanks. Connection. So quick summary. Sydney is on the move when she takes a temporary job as a cook on this ranch. And while she's trying to locate this ranch, she gets lost and stumbles across a BDSM sex club. And she learns the BDSM sex club because she watches through the fucking window. Okay, she watches through the window this girl getting like railed at a fucking bar. Like, there's no shame in this. Actually, she says in the book, well, they're doing it in public, so voyeurism probably isn't a problem. You're peeking into a fucking window of a closed club, you asshole. The fuck? Ugh. Anyway, she is caught by one of the owners who turns out happens to be the new boss on the ranch where she has become a cook. So she shows up and some more stuff happens which makes me stop the fucking book. So that's about where I got to the book. I don't really know what the crux of the third act breakup is. Don't fucking care because this book pissed me off. The only thing that I thought worked from what I read in this book was the original concept. I like the idea of a rancher dom. Thought that was dope because, you know, they're good with ropes and they're good with whips, and I thought that'd be really hot, and a cowboy in some tight Wranglers is never a problem for me. Ever. I thought it'd be pretty hot. I like cowboys. I like BDSM. I thought this was a win. Thought it was. Not. But I did like the original concept of her getting lost and stumbling across and finding, you know, the sex club. And then turns out the owner of the sex club happens to be her boss. And he doesn't want to mix business with pleasure. Okay, get it, cool, fine. I like that concept. Other than that, I didn't give a shit about this fucking book because everything after the original concept put a sour taste in my mouth. And I was not happy. So what didn't work? First off, the assuming that you can watch through a fucking window of a BDSM club is okay. The fact that this bitch actually said, well, apparently voyeurism isn't a problem because they're doing it in public. They're doing it in the safety of 4 fucking walls where they've given their consent, you dumbass. Not you peeking through a fucking window. Fuck. Rude, disrespectful. Did not give a shit about that. And then she does something that really pisses me off in BDSM books. This thing sets me on edge is when you start using an identifier without knowing the proper meanings behind the identifier. And what I mean is that when the rancher finds her and confronts her for peeping on his private property, okay, she's like, well, I'm sorry, sir. Knowing what that fucking means and knowing what she's doing, but you don't have the right to call him that because guess what? You are not in the confines of that. Oh my God, it was not an identifier as, I'm so sorry, sir, a respect thing. It was not. It was, I am going to snidely say this to you because I want you to do this to me, letting you know kind of like I'm on the in that I can do this, but you haven't vetted me, you haven't known me, you don't even know my fucking name, but I'm gonna do this. Get fucked, you dumb cunt. No, lost all respect for that bitch at that first moment. I was about to stop the book then, but I was like, okay, maybe he'll bring it back, maybe he'll bring that up in the story, be like, hey, this was not appropriate, you know, saying that, like, just assuming that because they're into this, that you can just treat them like this at all times. No, they're still fucking people, you jackass. Ugh. All right. There was some, I just recently talked about a book earlier in this video where the guy says, will you mount me like a stallion? Okay. Any other book, that being said, probably fucking cringe as fuck. All right. Probably cringe. But in that book, it totally worked. This book had some cringe statements that I don't think you could ever fucking make sexy. I don't want, okay, I just said never, but I don't want to say that because maybe an author could, but this one did not have the chops to fucking make this sexy at the fuck all. And I say that because he uses mons pubis and the word labia and finger bang in the same fucking sentence. Okay? I have no problem with dirty fucking words. I have no problem with sexually correct terminology. I have no fucking problem with that. But when you put that shit together and you try to make it hot, there's fucking something weird about that. It just sets me on edge and it's like, really? Huh? Ew. What the fuck? I wonder what her mons pubis looks like. Mons, the fuck? They licked her labia. I'm sorry, what? But I'm gonna finger bang you. You're gonna use scientific terminology, but then you're gonna say finger bang? Get fucked. No. Absolutely fucking not. I cringe. All right? I don't cringe a lot, but that set my teeth on edge, and I was like, oh God, that's like right there. Fuck that noise. No. No. Absolutely not. The next thing that didn't work in this book, lack of respect of any conversations whatsoever. Like, there is no limits, there's no limitations in these convos. She's just like, I'm down for whatever. You're a fucking idiot. Okay, you're a fucking idiot. All right, end of fucking story. You do not say that to somebody because they could be a psychopath. You don't say, oh, I'm down for anything. No, absolutely not. There are safe words. There are rules to this kind of lifestyle, and you are completely disregarding all of them. And even says that in the book. I don't want to get involved with someone like you because you're fucking crazy. And what does he do? He does it anyway. Like, the fuck? No, I don't like BDSM books like this. I do not like when they completely disregard the beautiful, like, structural integrity of a kind of this relationship. Whether it's a consensual closed-off relationship or it's open or it's just practicing partners together. Like, just the lack of respect that the female character had for his thing was bullshit. And the fact that he did not demonstrate the proper integrity to say, hey, you're a fucking psycho. I'm not bringing you to my club around my people. I'm not going to let you make a joke and a mockery of this. No. Done. Lost respect for these characters. Okay? Lost respect. And then after everything like that, it was just all soured. Like, her cavalier approach to everything. Oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. I can do this. Bitch, no. He said he didn't want you in his fucking club. He doesn't want you. He doesn't want to be around you. Respect that. And then maybe he'll turn around. But no, you just... And it wasn't like she had a thing for him. It was just more of a, I'm going to prove you wrong that I can make you want to submit. Make you want me to submit to you. Are you trying to bottom from the top, bitch? Because you're pissing me the fuck off. I don't like it. And so I said, fuck this book, I'm done. And I DNF'd it. Done. So, no stars, DNF'd. Moving the fuck on, won't be continuing the series because couldn't even finish the first fucking book. So, there you go. That was my week 1 of September reading, guys. That's what I read the first full week of September. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all soon with another video where I get to talk about some other tasty little treats that I completed in the month.